Hi, how are you guys? Yes, I will quickly want to uh, help us understand the concept of the PHP we are learning so far. So far, so good. We've been learning the basics from W3 schools. And so by now, you at least have an idea as to how to declare variables, right? You know how to express yourself as far as functions are concerned. Yeah, you know that since this is declared outside this function, it means you will need a super global to actually bring it in. So what do? You use the keyword global, okay, to kind of bring this that is outside this function to now participate within this function. So we understand all those concepts. You know how to use the echo, all right, to print out statements, okay? And then you know how to apply the if-else statements, all right? So if a certain condition is set, then this should take place, all right? Okay, so, and then most of all, the super globals. Now, watch this. They are what? Global variables. Just like in the case of declaring a normal variable, these ones are also referred to as variables, okay? And so we would, in our application, we'll look at these two. This one, the post variable, and we'll also look at sessions or session. Now, this post and get are the same. I've already explained to you that the post tends to secure whatever data you are passing, or in other words, transferring from the form. And so it's advisable that we stick to the post rather than using the get. So we'll be using this, okay? And then in terms of form handling, we would look at a form. Okay, this is a typical HTML form. You are most conversant with that, all right? So we'll see how best we can use a form to actually carry out the simple application we intend to build today. And then we will also look at include function, okay? The include function. That is why we used to kind of reduce the size of our codes so that we can have a concentration point on our sheet, right? Now the require and then the include serve the same purpose, but that this one usually will produce a fatal error when used. So I would advise that you use include. Now, the require, it is for sensitive data. So when you intend to use a sensitive data, you will come to use that later. Today, we will not be dealing on databases. So when we come to the database section, then we would have to use the require, all right? Okay. Then we would also, so I said we'll be using sessions, all right? Since we want to build an application, we would like at least the application to store information, all right, for us. Store information about whatever we are using, okay, so that across multiple pages, it will still keep that information for us. So we'll be needing sessions. So we use session start. Okay, so a typical example is what we have here. So here, you see where it is declared. It is declared above the doc type. So it simply means that the session must start before the whole page works. All right, that is that about sessions. Then we would also look at PHP variable handling. Variable handling. So with a variable handling, we would use a particular function called a set. We were talking about handling variables. We want to see whether if a particular variable is set. So for example, this has been declared and assigned to 0. Now we want to be sure that is this particular variable assigned a value? So if it is, then it should echo. So you see that here we're saying it should echo something to echo the variable A is set to us. All right. So here we just want to say that if this particular function is true, if this indeed is assigned a value, then it will echo. But if it is not set, it is not going to echo anything to us. And you see here, you can see that this variable B has been assigned a null value, null. So null simply means empty. Empty. So here we're saying if is set this variable, meaning that is this variable given a value? All right, is it given a value? So we can see that here is null. So if it's null, it isn't going to output anything to us. Okay. So let's run this and see what effect we get. So here you see that it's saying that variable A is set because we have assigned a value 0 to it. Now, null is not the same as 0. Okay. So this is an integer, 0. So it means that since there is an assignment of a value to A, then it presupposes that it will definitely echo this. That is why it's echoing this to us. On the other side, this is null, so we don't expect it to give us anything. Okay, so that is a little explanation that I can give to the set function. And then you'll be using this. All right, we'll be needing this. And then there is another function we'll be using. It's called the header. Header function. Assuming you want to redirect a particular page, you can use the header. So in short, let me see whether I have the, okay. So let me run this quickly. So to do the application, we will turn HTML template into a PHP application, okay? And to do that, we will download a template at this html5app.net. You see it, so we will download this template, right? And now the functions to be used are include function, a set function, session start function, session onset function, session destroy function, header function, and exit. So we'll be needing these functions along the way. Okay. Then the super globals that will be needed here are the session and the post. Session, post. Okay. So that is that. So we dive in. Okay. So we have the HTML5 templates here. So we'll download one of these templates, right? You can download any of the templates, but I prefer this. You can download any of them. I prefer this. So this actually will get downloaded for us to use. Okay, good, it's completed. So we'll be using that. Okay, so first things first, this is what we'll be doing. We will develop an application, all right, that has the index.php, all right? And so what next, you know the index.php is the first point of call that will serve as a front page or the landing page. The landing page, the first page. So when the first page comes up, what do we expect to see? It should prompt us at least of a login. Prompt the user to log in, right? And then here, if the form entry is made, if it is yes, then it should create a session for us, welcome the user, whoever has logged in, and also give an opportunity for the user to log out, right? So this is what we'll be seeing. And then, assuming the form entry is empty, what happens? It should insist that the user should log in. In other words, we need to apply a required field to that user input, all right? So that it doesn't submit anything empty for us. So this is a flow chart of what we intend to accomplish today. All right, so we go straight to our downloads. So usually when it comes this way, you have to extract, right? You have to extract the file. So make sure that I've already extracted one. So we have one here, right? So this is here. And assuming we don't want to, and want to use what we just downloaded. So we have one here. So you extract, okay? Extract here. Then it will come for you. So we have the file here, okay? So this is the template we actually downloaded. So what do we do next? We will just move this template to our web roots. So the housekeeping exercise I always do, okay. No. Okay. So now let me clear screen. And then before I start, you can see that I am now here, right? I don't want to be there. I want to be root. Root means that it will grant me access to be able to create whatever I want to create. So to do that, I'll do sudo dash, or in other words, sudo space dash s, and request for my password. All right, so once this is done, I would now navigate to the template I just created. So now I just want to reduce this. All right, I want it to be something simple. So I would name it Jasmine. I'll name it Jasmine, all right? Just giving it a name, Jasmine, that I can easily relate. So Jasmine is ready. So now watch this. I will just drag Jasmine onto the terminal. Okay. Then make sure I take off the quotes. So when I was putting it in, so that it came along with quotes. So now I'll type anything space, then make sure I move it to the next directory. That is my www folder. All right. So at this point, when I move, it's going to move this whole directory. I'm going to move this whole directory into this folder for me. So I enter. So since it didn't give me any feedback, meaning it is good. All right. So what I can do next is to cd var www, then HTML. All right. Then enter first. So meaning that I have now changed my path or change directory. CD means change directory. So I have changed directory now. And now I am now in this directory called the var or the HTML. Or in other words, I'm now in my web server. Okay. So here I would quickly do some house cleaning exercise. Change mode 77 dash R. Then I'll call Jasmine. All right. Jasmine. So when you type at least first two letters of whatever you have in the web book, then you just use the tab key to autocomplete, right? And that also helps you know that, okay, you are on the right path. So assuming you have entered into a wrong directory and that folder isn't there, when you use the autocomplete, the tab key, it wouldn't. Tab key on your keyboard. If you use it, it wouldn't go. So that means that there is something wrong. And assuming you are trying to address the same, maybe there are two files or folders that possess the same name, and maybe the difference will be maybe the last two letters. In doing it, it will not allow you. What you do is you continue to press the tab key, then it will fetch all items that are related like that. Then you will now look through to see which one you want. Okay. So at this point, I will enter. So meaning that I have now given full permission. Okay, full permission to the folder. All right. Now I'll change directory CD into Jasmine. All right. Okay, so at this point, when I do an ls, now these are the stuff I have in that directory. Now I would like to change this, okay, into PHP file and then create other more PHP files. You remember here, okay, we have this, so we must change this. Okay, we must make this index.php. Then we have to create another one to call login.php. Then we have to create one called logout.php. All right. So these are the applications we will be creating today. So back to my terminal. So what do I do? This is a template. This is a common HTML template. All right. So how do I know I have it running? I'll go to my browser, then localhost, and what else? Type Jasmine, and enter. So just there and then you see that it's going to give me this template that I have, right? See, so this is a template I have, all right? So I'm actually going to work on this template. I'm going to now convert this HTML into an application. Okay. For now, it doesn't do much. It's just HTML. Okay, so I would look at it and then change some things about it. Now, turn it into an application. So at this point, I will do, going to do move mv, the index. Okay, sorry. That was breaking transmission. So I will continue. Okay. All right. So at this point, I was, okay. So I'm going to complete, then index dot php. All right. I enter. Then I think that will be it for now, right? So now I have converted. So when I do an ls again, you see that now this has changed to index.php. Look at the file extension. Formerly it was HTML. Now this command, okay, has turned it into a PHP file now. All right. So what do I do next? I would have to create another folder called the includes folder. So to create a folder, I'll do an mkdir. Okay, so I just type the mkdir without putting other information there. So I think my hand went so fast. So M can call it back using this, okay? Then I will type includes, okay? Includes. So this is going to create a new folder. You can see here that the only existing folder is the assets folder, right? But we need more. So we'll be creating the includes folder. So I enter. And then you can see when I type an ls again, now there should be a new folder called the includes folder. All right. So now you'll be wondering, why is this one having this color and this one that? It is having this color because I just created it. However, I can make it also turn green. To do that, you can just use change mode 777 -r. All right, then you call the includes folder. Include, okay, so that when you go back and do an ls, see that now it also forms, becomes green, meaning that it's now accessible, right? So that is just that. It's just we are just creating the folders we'll be needing. So at this point, I would open Sublime and then drop this new folder I've created into it. All right. So to call Sublime, I'll just type SUBL. Then it would pop up Sublime text. All right. Sublime text was. Now I would go in here into my folder, cancel. Sorry. Go into my folder. So you can see the path. This is exactly what I mean. So I'm looking for Jasmine. So I will scroll down for Jasmine. So this is Jasmine. I just drag Jasmine and drag her onto this. So I should find Jasmine down here. Okay, so there we have Jasmine. Okay, so, and this is our index. This is our index, and this is our includes, the folder we created. Okay, you see Jasmine is here now. Okay, so now what do we want to do? We want to split this. Just want to change this whole site. Look at it. This is an HTML site. See how lengthy it looks? Very lengthy. Now we want to use the includes. Want to use the includes function. This includes function to get things working, right? So what do? We would now divide our codes into pieces, right? Right. So if you have observed, you realize that, let me go up, where we have the text showing here. Okay, so we'll call this web programming. Oh, sorry. Yep, web programming. All right. And this site where we have another fine responsive, right? We will keep that, but we will delete all these things underneath it. We don't need them. We don't need them. Okay, so let me end here. Let me put it here. So we're taking off this, all right? We just leave this there like that. So here should be down here like this, down there like that. Okay, we can even push this one down if you so desire. So that we save. Then when we come here and then we refresh again, now we'll see that we have web programming, another fine responsive. So that is exactly what we are doing. Okay, we are within this section, and this is where we want our codes to actually reside, the PHP codes to reside, right? We want it to give us certain feedback, all right? So that is why we are using that. Now, we want to move all this information. We are moving all this information out from here. So I will cut it and then create another file in the includes folder. So file, then I will paste this in here and I will save. So to save it here, I will call this header. Okay, header dot PHP. All right, and I will save it. And I will go back to my index. This is the index. Here, I'll replace it with a PHP tag and say include. Right, so this is the include function we are using. So remember, I said we are using this include function. Okay, so we'll come in include, then we put in quotes. Now we have a folder called includes, so we'll call that folder includes, right? Slash the file name we created, so header dot php. You remember that file we created? Okay, within the includes. All right. So with this, we would terminate it here. Then we'll close this, right, with that. Save. Okay, so if you are in doubt as to whether this file exists, this is the file. So when we come to includes, so you see it here. You see what we created. So having done this, I just want to reuse quotes. Pardon me, I will not be typing all plenty things again. So, okay, so let me first of all do the proper thing. So this one ends here. Now this one, okay, also starts and ends somewhere. We want to take it out from here. Okay, so we'll come, hurry up and come down. Okay, so here I'll move all this to this section. Oh, okay, let me use my shift key. And the shift key will do the adjustments for me. Okay, all right. Then Control X. So I have cut it. All right, then I'll create another file inside the includes, paste it in there, and I'll save. I'll call this footer.php. All right, and save it. Then I'll go back to my index. Now come and copy this one. I don't want to. I'm just showing you how to get things fast. Okay, but I will change this to what? Footer. All right, then save. So now at the moment we have this little code facing us. So this is where now you see that the bulky part of it is gone. What have we done? We have turned it into chunks, little chunks of codes. We come here, we have plenty codes here, we have plenty codes here. But the whole idea is to reduce the codes that are around us. All right, but it's still serving the same purpose. Okay. Now let's save whatever we have done, go into our application. Now, we don't want the site to break. So we want to check whether if it is working. Voila, it's working. It means that everything is intact. Now, you might not appreciate that nothing has changed. But in order for us to appreciate that something has changed, we can go back and maybe let's just take off this R and save and see what will happen. You see that there's a broken link somewhere, all right, making it look messy. The site is messed up. Assuming you are working and then you come across it, you'll be worried the whole time. Okay, so you know where the problem was. Just go resolve it and save. Okay, then go back, refresh the page, then voila, it comes. Now at this point, we are coming to create the application itself. Now this, I don't really need this. This big thing that says there like that, I don't need it. I'm taking it out. Save. I'm using Sublime, so definitely they want me to buy. So I would refresh. Now this is what we have. Okay, so we want to now go ahead and introduce a form in here. Now, watch we said that on the index, it should prompt the user. So it means that if we are going to apply a session, what do I say a session was? When we come here, what did I say a session was? Okay, just want to locate session so that we can have, so this is PHP session. So session, that's what stores information, variables, all right, to be used across multiple pages. This is how it is declared, right? So when a session is applied to this page, it means that there's going to be a session set for us, okay, this session. set. So this is applicable to this. But in our case, we want to do a simple login form. A simple login form. So when the page comes to us and session is not set, it should do what? Present us with a page. Look at this, the flow chart again. It should prompt the user to log in. But at the moment, what we see here is not prompting us to log in. So how do we fix that? So we come in here, okay? Now this is the content we want to work with, all right? Look at this, we come here. See here, another fine responsive. When we go to the fine, see another fine responsive. Now, we want to be able to use this space given us to put in our form, right? So, and in this place, since it's an as the index file, we don't need to start session on the page. You don't need to start a session on the page. But if it were the login where you actually be logging in, you will need to have a session started. The logout, you need a session started. But on the index, there is no need to start session. All right, so what do we do here? Here we will just take off this, all right? Then come back a bit so that we can declare our PHP, right? So in declaring the PHP here, we'll just put in some comments that we would like to what? Check if session is not set, okay? If session is not set. So how do we check if session is not set? We use the if statement, that's as it starts. If statement. So we say if, now look at this, we use, we use what? The is set function. Remember, we said to use the is set function, you need the, let's see how it's applied here. So when we come to PHP form handling or variable handling, we use what we call the is set. So is set. So what does the is set do? It checks whether a variable is empty or check whether the variable is set or declared. So this is the variable. I want to check whether it is set or not set. So we go back here and say, if this, okay, so if this variable, what variable are we talking about? We're talking about the session variable. So if session variable is set or it's not set, so this one makes it's not set, then it should give us what? It should give us the form. That's exactly what we're just trying to say. Okay, so here we will leave it here like that. But let us finish. What are we trying to look at? We're trying to pick a certain variable, all right? A variable called username. Username. So here we will say username. If this session is set, then it should what? Echo you are not logged in yet. Okay, so that is what we said here. If the form is not set, it should tell us that it should insist that you should log in. All right, or I should continue to prompt you to log in. All right, so we'll come back So we say if a set username, then what do we do? Once the if statement has come, then we can put in our curly brackets and say that it should echo you are not logged in. You are not logged in yet. Okay. Now at this point, because we will have another text come under, it's advisable we just put in a BR. Okay, so BR. Let me close it there. Don't forget to terminate it. Right? Okay, so here we're saying that it should present us with what? Alert us that you are not logged in, and should also give us form to input whatever we need to input. So we say echo, then we'll put in this. So this is very important. Right. So here we would now put in our form. Put in our form, and then we would indicate that the action of that form should be login. Login.php. All right. Then the method should be what? Equal to posts. Remember, we said we'll be using the underscore post method here. We said we're using underscore globals, we'll be using underscore post. All right. Okay. So here we're just declaring a form. If you have a form ready somewhere, you can just pick the form and come and put it here. But I'm going to type out everything so that you understand what we are doing. So here we have our form presented, but currently just the head section of the form that has been declared. So we'll put in our inputs. So input, we say type is equal to what? Type is equal to text. All right. And then the name will be what? Name will be equal to username. All right. So you can give it a placeholder, okay, and say, please enter your username. All right. Okay, so this, you are prompting the user to input their username. All right. Then we would give it an ID. So now this ID, okay, let me go down, can come and continue here. This ID actually, no, don't need to include here. ID equal to, now the template that we are using, this template has its own ID. All right. So when you go to the element, for instance, this one, you can see that when we downloaded the element, there was, or the template, it came along with its own stuff. So when we go up here, all right, and say localhost, say Jasmine, then elements dot HTML. So HTML, because when we downloaded it, that was what we got. So when we come down, we want to use this button. All right. These buttons, I like the way they are. The template usually gives you these other stuff that you can actually make use of. Okay. So when you go into the code, you realize that there is a particular class in there that will enable you to change the the look of your button, and that input or that ID is called demo-name. It's a class. All right, so this is the ID we get. Then we will close it. Then open up, sorry. So we should close it for us. And now we will create a button here. We will create a button. Type of the button should be what? Equal to submit. So we're saying that this button should be a submit button. We'll give it a name. The name is also going to be what? Submit. All right. Then we will give it a class. All right. So now this class, you ask, where am I getting the class from? It's from the template. Okay, the template that I downloaded. So I want it to actually pick those features from it, and I've shown you CSS. So this, you go in the CSS file and you locate template. That's what they are using here. So here, there is a class called button, then primary. All right. Let's see. Yeah, primary. Then other business, we will close this, and then we would type in the name of whatever we want it. So we want to use the login. Then we'll close this button. All right. Close the button, and finally, we will close the form. Close the form. Okay. All right. So this actually is gonna create a form for us. Just by this, you're going to create a form for us. Now we shouldn't forget to terminate this. Okay. So this one is telling us that if this session variable already is the index file or the index page, right? So this, we know that we don't have to set variable in there or set any session. So one session is not set, it should present as well to tell us that you are not logged in, and it should echo this form to us. This form echo to us. Okay. So assuming this is what we have actually done, we can run it and be sure that we're on the right path. When we are done, we will come back and then do something about it. So here, we'll come back here and refresh the page. This is happening again. All right. So let's come in here and try to appreciate why that is happening. So you see that, yeah, I come here and then do this, and it gives us that. Don't worry at all. You can just always identify the issues here. It just simply means that here I have not closed the PHP tag. All right. That's what it means. That little thing, this small thing, can worry you, Papa, if you don't do it well. So we'll save and go back again and refresh the page. So you see that now, voila, we have something happening here. It says you are not logged in. Please enter your username. Are you watching it? So, and here it's telling us to log in. There's something happening here. Let's go back to our file and then try to understand what exactly it is. we are missing. Okay. So we have this button. Okay. We have login. Right. Let me bring this way. Let me see what actually the problem is. Okay, so I've moved this inside. Okay. Let me send this closer. Let's see what the issue is. Okay. So BR, so this button, let me enter so that it comes out. So this submit, all right, submit class button is, you have a button down here. It is showing another thing to us. Let's refresh, then go back. Okay, let me see. It's giving us two logins. Let's try to understand why that is happening. Okay. All right. I think this button, this is what is creating an imaginary button for us. I just make it primary. Don't know why. It should give us an extra button down there. Oh. Okay. Placeholder button submit. Okay. I think because of the type here, because the name is there, it's already a button. So I think there's no need to call for the type. Let me see. Save. There's no need to call for the type. Let me see something. Save. Strange. So it's funny. It's really funny because technically this button is supposed to be closed here. All right. We'll just take note of that. This button was supposed to be closed. You see, you've opened this button. You need to close it here. So it looks like it tends to create an extra button beside it. All right. So currently when we click, is pointing us to this login. All right. And the login, we have not yet created a login. So we'll go back. Then make sure this is a required field. So for it to be a required field, we'll click here. All right. And then type required. Yeah. So that it doesn't just submit. All right. So when we refresh the page, and we say submit, it will insist. Okay, see that it's not submitting until we have typed in something. It's not going to allow us to. Okay, so Now let's do the other aspect where we said it should, at least when we have logged in, and then it needs to give us a feedback. Here, session has not been created, so it's not going to tell us anything. Right. So here we'll just type echo for it to welcome us if we have actually created a session. So welcome, right, space. Then we'll put a period. Then we'll put this, right? So this is just my way of creating space. So this one starts and ends here. Now this one starts and ends here. This period is concatenating, putting it together, all right? So here we would open this up, or better still can just take it out and then just type our session in there. So we want this session underscore, all right? Then we will call the user, right? So username, okay? And we say, then we would put in this period and call for another space and put another period and say session welcome so and so, you are now logged in. Okay, so say you are now logged in. Then we would terminate it. Okay, then we would make sure we put in, so if we say you are now logged in, then we should put a break, right? So break line. Okay. Then if you are logged in, then it should tell you to log out. You get the whole point. Now it should be able, if you are logged in, it should tell you that you should log out. I get in the point. Okay. So here we'll put in a button. So that button we're just going to use href. Then we will tie it to the login, or say logout.php. Right. Logout.php. Then we'll give it a class. And we say button. We'll call this primary. So this actually comes with a template, so that it will turn this into a button for us. Then we will terminate it by putting, we'll put this one inside rather. So, put this here. Terminate it. Then we'll say logout. Okay. Then we will terminate them. Okay. So at this point, we can put this one here. So this actually, when we have actually succeeded. So here, if session is not set, it should present this to us, right? That is why we are seeing this. So when we refresh this, we are seeing this because session is not yet set. That is why it's showing us this. But if session is set, I mean that if we succeed in logging in, then this must change to logout. This one you are seeing. Then it should inform us that you are logged in. So if we are indeed logged in, it's going to throw this to us. Okay, so it will mention my name, all right? Then not mention my name as in the literal sense, but to point, to pick this. This is a variable, as I said, it's a variable. So you're going to pick whatever I have typed in there, then tell me you are now logged in. Then present. So what we are seeing down here, which is a login. Now, if you are logged in now, to come out with this as what? Log out. Okay. So take note of that. All right. So we save. Now we need to create another page called the logout. Okay. So we have, this is the index. So now we have to create a login page. So we'll copy all of this and then come in here and create a new file. So to create a new file, you can just come up here. Okay. Just paste this one in here. Okay. See? Okay, so here we will change this to login. Log in. Okay, so that it differentiates what exactly we are doing. Okay, so we have just copied what we had here in here, but we're going to save this and call this one login. Login.php. Login.php. So now, excuse me. But see, we said when we'll need to declare, we need to declare sessions. It needs to be cited at the top of the doc type. All right, top of doc type. So where the top of doc type here? When we come to login, this will be the top of the doc type. Here will be top of the doc type. You ask, why is it a doc type? Because this is not a doc type. Don't forget that we have created an includes file. So the header, you can see where the header is. See that the header, the start of this header has a doc type. We will not put it here. We will rather put it at the top. When we come to login, keep it here. Okay, that is where now we would create our session. So to start a session, we will just put in our PHP code. Okay, and then say we enter. Oh, sorry, I may not do that. I'll enter and say session start. Okay, session start. I will terminate it here. Then we would close this here. So here we are now starting a session at this place, on this page, because this is where we want the login to actually handle the processed data. So the moment it is, so when we go back to the index, this is the index. So when it presents this to us, so if it's not set, it will present this form to us. All right. So you see that we are saying that this action should process the login. So that is why we have come here to now create a login page. Okay. So here, what happens next is that we'll have to create what we call the submission form elements, where it would process whatever data has been submitted to it. Okay, so with this one, for instance, we will just keep it as it is. We will leave it here as it is. We will not do anything to it. Okay, so we can actually open up this. Okay, we open up this and then create another if it's set. So we say if it's set. So what we're trying to say that whatever form has been submitted, we want to now use the super global post to fetch whatever data has been submitted to it. So to do that, we will pass the variable underscore post. Okay. Then we'll make reference to the submit. Okay, so the moment the form is submitted, if it is submitted, so this simply means if the form is submitted, something should happen. What should happen? We should assign the variable to the post. So what variable are we referring to? The super global underscore session. Then make reference to its username. Then we say that this username should be assigned to the post. All right. So now we're going to make sure this, okay, because we have started session. So if session is started, then we want to assign this session, which is also a variable, to the username post. Don't forget that when we were submitting this here, this is the submit. All right. So we say post. Now this is the username we want to catch. Okay. So here we'll say should be submitted to $_ post. So you see the variable has come in. So which variable are we referring to? We are referring to the username variable. Okay. Then we would terminate it. All right. So we are saying that if post, or in other words, if the submit or the form is submitted, it should assign this variable, which is the session, to the username that has been created. All right. So else, what should happen? Else, it should be able to tell us that you must please log in first. Okay. So here we're saying else, it should echo you must please log in first. All right, in order to do what? In order to have access to the platform. All right. So break line PR that, then we'll terminate it. Okay. So at this point, we are trying to receive at this point, we will have to do a set. Sorry, by the way, the security came around to check. So, all right. So here, you must please log in first. Here, we are trying to insist that until a submission is made, it shouldn't grant you access to the platform. It shouldn't create a session for you. All right. So we're saying that if this is set, it should give you this access to it. So assign this to that. Else, it should tell you. So that means that if you don't submit anything, it should tell you, you must please log in first. So this is alerting you that maybe you have bypassed the login. And some people can develop application and know that, okay, because they know the URLs, they can just use the URL to enter. So you have bypassed the login and you have come to say you are trying to do something, meaning that access denied. Okay, you are trying to log in. So instead of maybe saying you must please log in, it should tell you access denied. So we can do this. The person is trying to cheat the system. So we say access denied. Usually that is what we usually see. So access denied. All right, meaning that you don't have access to login. All right, this must be created first before you can log in. So usually these are some of the things that do happen. All right. So when we come down here to check out this, we realize that this one too is trying to tell us that we have not created session yet. Why are we repeating it? Assuming somebody has cheated and is trying to do something. Once you get here, it should alert you that please, you are not set, so you are not logged in. Kindly log in. Here it's telling you access denied to increase the information. So it will add this, it will say access denied. Please log in. You are not logged in. Okay, let me put please here so that to re-emphasize the point. Please, you are not logged in. So we are just trying to insist that you log in before you can do whatever you intend to do. So here, it can represent the login page to you here, the particular one. So see that exactly what we did there, all right? It's going to force you to present login screen again. That is what this one is going to do. If you are not logged in, it's going to force you to present the login screen again. All right. Okay. So instead of it going back, we could have also turned this and then placed underneath it a link to the index page. Okay. So if we say it should present this, so this one by default, the moment the person misses this, it's going to present all this to you. All right. And then still allow you to log in. Okay. So let's save this and then run the application and see what we get from it. So here, do refresh. Okay. You are not logged in. Right. So let's say that I bypass it. Instead of logging in, then I go and type login. Login.php. Let's see. So you see that it has presented a login page to me. It's telling me login. And then here it's saying access denied. Please, you are not logged in. I get it. So it is still insisting that we log in. So you just have to go back and see here it's telling us that you should log in. All right. So let's type in Victor Bedao. All right. Then submit. Then it should be able to catch. Welcome, Victor Bedao. You are now logged in. So this one is presenting the logout. So if a session is created, it should not present the logout to me. So when we come back here, you realize that we have solved our issue. We should prompt the user to log in. Okay. If the form is submitted, it should create a session that has been done. Then prompt the user to log out. So you see that here, it has welcomed me and it's prompting me to log out. Then, let me see. So if it doesn't, it should insist that the user logs in. So here, when I click on this logout, it's going to move to a dead end, even though it's going to bring up another page to us. Let me see whether I have the page there. Let me go into my Sublime. Okay, so I don't have the logouts here. So we need to create a logout because when I click on this now, it's going to go to a dead end. There we have it. All right. So we'll go back. So at this point, it's telling me that Charlie, something went wrong. All right. So here, it will still hold this. It cannot destroy. It's not destroying this variable. it was supposed to have destroyed it, but says we have not been able to log out. It is still going to present it to us. Let's see whether, when we go back to the front page, it's going to give us something. So let's see. So it has brought us back to the front page. And then, yes, this is expected because on the front page, we did not declare or set any variable. I get me. We did not declare any variable. So definitely it's going to request that we log in. But let's go back. When we go back to the login.php, it should still welcome us. It should still welcome me. All right, because the variable has not been destroyed yet. All right, the only way it can be destroyed is when we use what we call, so let me come here. So here, when we use session onset, session destroy, then we're going to destroy the session that has been created. I get me? Good. So if we don't do that, it is still going to hold this data for us. So what do? We have to create a page called sessions logout. So let's go into Jasmine, create a page. So save. I will call this log out.php. All right, logout.php. So here we have to create a new PHP tag, right? PHP tag, and now start session on this. So session start. This will be very fast. Okay. So session start. Then we'll do session onset. Let me see. Session underscore onset. So we have onset here. Right. Then another last one. One who asks, why do we have all this showing? Yes. The whole point is it's going to unmount whatever data is in there, and then finally destroy it so that it doesn't even exist. That is why when it's destroyed, nobody can trace unless you come back and then log in again. Okay, so that is the reason why we have all that done. You need to just know this by heart. So now when we are done, we'll put in a header and put a string in here. Then we'll say location, all right? Then column, then index dot php, all right? Okay, so index dot php, I was saying index dot php. So here we can put comma and type logout, all right? Logout is equal to 1. So this will just give it an identity, all right? So that when you click on the URL, it's actually, when you say logout, this particular, when you click on logout, this information will come, signifying that this is logout, and it will send you back to the index file. This is the index file. Okay. So at this point, we will use the exit function or exit method. Okay, then we terminate our PHP code. Save. All right, so this actually should now solve our problem. So when I refresh, did I refresh? Okay, let me refresh. Okay, So here we are logged in still. So when I click on this, it should destroy this guy, Victor. So you see that when I clicked on it, it sent me back the index file. So you see that what I typed in here, index this logout equal to what is what has come, showing me that we have logged out. Okay, showing me that we have logged out. Sorry. So here, if I decide to go here, let's see when I want to go to the login, it's going to present Victor again. So here you say that it's telling me access denied. Please, you are not logged in. Okay, so when I even decide to go, what do you call it? When I go back, so I'll be forced to go back the index. No matter what I try to do, it will request that I log in. So when I do login is not going to log me in until I have done what? Typed out another name. So here I'll type C Chopper Bedao. Hey, Bedao. Then login and to welcome Victor and C Chopper Bedao. You are now logged in. Okay. So at this point, when I even go back to the index file, it will take it off because I don't have session created there. So depending on the number of places you want session to appear, you can create different pages and make sure you put the sessions in there to make reference to those pages. Okay, this is a simple application. So log out, then it logs me out and say you are not logged in. So please enter your username again to log in. Okay, so a quick one. You've been able to accomplish the chart we said we would do. So we've been able to use this, include, function is set, session start, session onset, session destroy, header, then exit. We use these functions. And then the super globals, we use what? The session, then post. And above all, we use the template from the HTML app, HTML5 app.net. Okay. So this is a simple application we've been able to write. Yes, it looks quite lengthy, but you are expected to know this by heart. Are we okay? So this is a type of question that will come during your exams. And then, yes, it's kind of the practice will make you perfect. Okay, you should understand these principles. All right, so that here we didn't have to declare any session. So there's no session, but we needed to check if session has been set somewhere. Okay, so if it's set, then it should echo you are not logged in. And it should echo what? A form. Else, it should welcome. So the else simply means that it's handling the positive side of it. Should there be something, then it should welcome you. All right, so thank you so much for attention. We'll call it a day here.